Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Mental Health Hour. Um, Back again. What's this? 2 weeks in a row. We're on a streak. We did one last week, didn't we?
Yeah. No, I was sick last week.
Oh, never
Was it
mind
last
then.
week? Yeah, sick last week, and the week before I was away, so we missed a couple.
Never mind then. We're back, as it were,
Mm.
and we've got a lineup planned, so we won't be taking any weeks off for the foreseeable, at least through March. We should be on here every time. Um, that being said, tonight we're revisiting one of our most talked about topics, depression. This will be only the third show that we've done um, dedicated to this topic, but it does come up a good bit in most of all of the other 80 episodes we've done. So it's a topic that definitely we can probably do another 20 episodes on with no problem. So we'll just keep rolling. And it's good to revisit topics anyway, because things are always changing. Diagnoses and um, treatments, what have you, all that stuff comes into play. So taking a look at it, months down the road, maybe a year, reevaluating, seeing what's new. It's all important. Level 2 hype train. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ray, for the 100 bits going towards that hype train. Depression. I think it's pretty common enough among the population of the globe that is it safe to say, or is it a hot take to say that everybody is affected in some way by depression?
Oh yeah, either directly through themselves or having a loved one or friend, family member experiencing it. I'm pretty sure that everybody knows somebody who's battled with it.
Well, Gemma, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's actually going to be a part of tonight's look at depression. We've covered a lot of, so far, we've covered a lot of diagnosing depression or symptoms and treatments, and living, as the title says, living with it yourself. But you could also, as Gemma was just so keenly, almost futuristically seeing, that we can live with it through our loved ones as well. Maybe they're the ones with the diagnosis, and we are here to support. So we'll be going back over some of the recap stuff, like symptoms and stuff like that. See if anything's changed. It's the symptoms wise, it's all pretty much the same. But I was talking with somebody earlier today, and I thought to myself, because he was asking about depression, and I was like, you feel it. You'll know if you have depression. And as I left that conversation, I got in my car and I left. And I was driving down the road, and I thought to myself, damn, well, that's not good information for him. I just almost lied to him, because the fact is I didn't feel it. I've had a depression diagnosis since I was like 20, so like 16 years now. But what's the word I'm looking for? I haven't felt it. I haven't really known what it was until just recently, in these past 3 years. Now I can feel it. But when I was just when I had the diagnosis, and I was walking around like, I'm not depressed. What
Mm.
the hell's anybody talking about? You know? So let's take a look at some comments as they're streaming on in.
I'm just trying to find an audio that describes depression really well. I'm hoping if I can find it, I'll play it. Let me just check and see if it's this one. Yeah, it is. Right. Are you all right if I just play it? It's just with what you said. I thought this would be really good to.
Sure.
All right. Okay. Oh, hang on. Stop. Just bear with me.
This is a typical Gemma broadcast.
Yeah, tech. There we go.
Gone through depression would tell you that it's not just something in your mind, but rather it's something you feel in your body. As much as it's in your head, it's also in your stomach. Having anxiety and depression is like being scared and tired at the same time. It's the fear of failure, but no urge to be productive. It's wanting friends, but hate socializing. It's wanting to be alone, but not wanting to be lonely. It's feeling everything at once, then feeling paralyzing numb. This is a picture of what anxiety and depression at times feels like. Anybody who's ever gone through depression would tell you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just thought that was fitting.
It's funny because now I definitely do feel it. And I notice it. Well, my wife notices it before I do. She'll notice, the lack of interest in doing normal day-to-day things. I'd rather lay on the couch and just watch TV and shut in, isolate. But I don't think I'm doing that. I just think I'm watching TV. But she'll say, "Hey, we want to go to the grocery store," which is something we always do. And it's usually a good time, take the baby out. And nah, I don't want to go. That's like strike one there. And then I start noticing it when things start piling up on my desk here, like mail. I haven't gone through mail in a while, or maybe things are a little bit more disorganized. Things like that. I start caring less. It used to be the shower thing was, personal hygiene. People with depression, sometimes, I guess not all of them, but some of them don't care even about the personal hygiene. And now I'm aware of that as a red flag. So even if I'm feeling horrible, I still make myself go shower because I'm not going to give into that. But yeah,
I
there's
think it's the people that notice it. I asked you a couple of times over the last month, I think, that I didn't feel you felt like the same. And I think any big change or upheaval in your life, like having a child can bring that on. I was terrible after I had Thomas. But it can be brought on by other things, but certainly the people around you notice, I think, before you yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, my wife's my first line of defense on it because she's ever vigilant with it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go look at some comments here as they're coming in. Eric says depression treatment, it's more attention of the media and government, more research and resources. Needs more attention, I guess. Absolutely. They are definitely starting to step up the game, as we've talked about previously with the health insurance game. You're starting to see mental health options of coverage and treatment available, which was pretty scarce only 5-10 years ago. So that's real good that it's coming around. Bulldog Mom says drugs are never the answer. It's just causes more issues and addiction. Couldn't be more correct, and probably something that I should have listened to. Alcohol was my medicine.
I think as much as like you can use that to give you the high, once you come down, the low is even lower. I've done it myself. You do or take something to give you a lift, a high, but then every time you do that, the lowers keep getting lower and more difficult to get out of. And the longer it goes on, the less time the high is and the longer the lows are. It's
so true. The drinking, for me at least, it wasn't. I never like viewed it as medicine, but that's what I was doing, self-medicating. I mean, it's and masking and just trying to press everything down and feel good, because drinking makes you feel good for a little bit, but then it brings you really down again. It's a vicious circle, as most drugs are. But yes, K911 says, I have it amongst other things, just being honest. That is great. We love honesty here. That's what this show's about, honesty and sharing. Betty says some of the symptoms aren't typical, so you might think you're just anxious or tired or down. Well, has everybody got my show plans tonight? Because I didn't even tell Gemma about the video tonight being about other people, and now Betty coming in with something. Why don't we start with that? If you want to pull your slides up there, Gemma, we'll start with exactly that. Craig, that Craig bloke. Sorry, I'm just catching up with the comments here. Jim, thank you for the Shamrock 50. Very nice. Thank you guys for helping support the stream with all the subs and the bits and likes and shares. But getting to Betty's comment here, let's take a look at, I think it's this one. Nope. It's this one. Anxiety versus depression. What is it? What's the difference?
Right. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, cool. So anxiety versus depression comparison chart. So I'll do the do it maybe across. Let me look. Yeah, okay. I'll do it across. So anxiety, depression, anxiety. Right, okay. So you seem to feel relieved by resolving the particular problem, but anxiety comes back. Whereas depression, you stress persistently over themes of worthlessness and inadequacy. Attitude stays positive, but you would think about resolving the situation permanently. And then negative thoughts take over your mind and you get that helpless feeling. Energy may be high or low depending on the type of anxiety. And then energy is usually low. A sense of personal control may be good. And you may be unable to exercise the sense of personal control. Irritability is not constant, and small things can cause behavioral changes. Irritability is persistent, and negativity affects how you feel, think, and act. So it kind of compares the two.
Thank you, Gemma. So a couple differences, right? I mean, they're not the same thing, obviously, but they go hand in hand. Usually, if you got one, you got the other, or one can cause the other, or the other can cause the one, etc., etc. It's true, though. A lot of folks that are diagnosed with depression, no matter the severity, have some sort of anxiety as well that helps spur it on. So like just the last part there, irritability. I never felt irritable. Well, I don't think I feel irritable. We'll put it that way. Because people perceive things differently. Like I said, I didn't even think I had depression. I thought I was coming off great. But I never felt or feel irritable when I'm in depression mode. But I do kind of get irritable when I'm anxious. Because I don't like the feeling of anxiousness. Nobody does. Everybody has felt that, not necessarily a full-on panic attack or anything, but everybody worries about something, paying bills, a loved one in the hospital. There's you don't have to have a lifetime of anxiety or an anxiety diagnosis to feel what anxiety is over the course of just one day, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you can see the differences. Energy, obviously, with anxiety is going to be way up here because you're tacking, you're redlining, and then energy is always, I don't know why it says energy is usually low. It should always be low.
Yeah, I was going to say always low. I've never ever
Yeah.
known myself to have any energy with it all. It's like sometimes the willingness to do something is there, but the energy is just like, nope, not today.
Eric says, I am more anxiety than depression. And that we know, Eric, because Eric came on and did a whole episode on anxiety with us, shared his story. So we thank you for that. Betty says, in my experience, depression comes with a crippling lack of control in every aspect of life. So that comes from the what they call I forget what they called it, but it basically boiled down to risk-taking behaviors, and it's a big red flag for psychiatrists or counselors, doctors of a depression diagnosis is risk-taking. They even ask me that all the time. Like, it was just a standard question. Do you have, it would be the normal slew of doctoral questions, and then out of nowhere, it's like, hey, you ever feel like jumping out of an airplane for the hell of it? So people that are depressed tend to take those risks because what the hell,
I was the same. Like I was really, really bad for it. And I think when I get to my worst stages, sometimes I'll go out of the house just to get out, put my music in, and I will just walk. And when I say walk, like I just go. Roads, don't even look, just straight, like wherever. Think if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And it's terrible. Like down to medications, taking too much, not taking them at all, like passive death wish kind of thing where you're not actively trying to kill yourself, but you're not going to stop it.
That's the buzzword, or that's the technical term for it, passive death wish, which is what they're looking for, I guess, when they ask these questions. You could look at it either two ways. Some might see it like take jumping out of an airplane, like I said. There's two schools of thought that there's probably more, but I come up with two schools of thought on risk-taking and depression. You're either, if you're going to go jump out of an airplane, you're either trying to treat your depression, like force some excitement into your life, make yourself happy, do something out of control that might just bring a little bit of joy, or you just like, yeah, sure, I'll go jump out of an airplane. What do I care if I die or whatever, So, I mean, that's two ways that I can look at it. Like I said, I'm sure there's more, but the passive death wish thing, I definitely, when I learned about that and what it was, I'd never heard of it until rehab, and it's just like, not necessarily a light bulb went off, but like, I've never once had suicidal ideation or anything. I'm not a quitter. I don't want to give up. And, that, I don't know if that's fucked up of me to say, a quitter. These people, some folks look at suicide as these people were in such great pain.
Yeah.
They felt like they had no other.
I've
I
been
don't.
there.
I don't mean any. I don't mean anything derogatory. I just. It's not in my nature. It's not in my being to go down that road.
You have to have been there, done that to really truly understand it. Like you can empathize with someone and be like, yeah, it must be hard and things, but until you've been there personally, you really will never understand. And I've been there. I found myself sat on a big bridge over a motorway. I have done many things. And in that time, in that very moment, yeah, I wanted to die. I started self-harming at a very, very young age, and the first time I attempted to take my life, I was 11. And yeah, for that moment that you're in, yeah, I wanted, and it didn't seem like backing out. If anything, it's it's not weak, really. It's to do it and to actually follow through with it. There must be so much hurt going on inside that it feels like it's the only way to make it stop. And I know when I was going through the worst time, it literally everything hurt, my heart, my mind, my body. There was no way out of it. And if I was genuinely wanting to end my life, I wouldn't tell anyone. And I think that's the difference. I mean, I might be wrong here, but my experience of that is if someone's going to do it, they don't usually tell somebody because they don't want to be stopped. If they do, it's more often than not a cry for help. Like you've reached rock bottom, you've reached breaking point, and you have told someone that this is what you're going to do. But yeah, to get that low and hurt inside that much where you feel like the only way out is to take your life. Yeah, it takes some strength to actually act on it because of the things that the things you have to do to actually do that. And I know that some of the things I did, the main worry for me was actually not succeeding and worried about if someone found me and I'd taken a massive overdose, that it would damage something in me that meant that I had to live on having done that to myself and caused the damage that I would have to live with as well on top. And I don't know if that makes sense, but
It definitely
that was
does.
the biggest worry for me, that if I was going to do it, that I needed to do it right, because I didn't want to end up waking up after having a massive overdose and having some sort of like internal bleed or something in which I would have to live with as a constant reminder that I did it, that I didn't do it right. And now, because of that, there's something wrong with me as a result of that. And that is a huge factor that went on in my head when I was doing this. And yeah, it's hard because there's all this stuff that goes through your head, like who's going to find me if I jump off a bridge and some car hits me? Who's driving it? Am I going to ruin their life? And it's like you've got to the point where you don't want to, or I did, where I didn't want to continue, but I didn't want to inflict my pain and suffering and the cause of my death on somebody else. And yeah, it's hard. It really is hard. And as I say, I've been there a few times, but it also then, when you've done it and you've failed, it feels like a failure. Like, I have failed. I can't even do this right. I can't even end my own suffering right. and then that mounts up on top of everything that you've previously gone through to get to the stage where you want to end your life, and then you fail. So that can make it even worse.
988lifeline.org chat. I'm not sure, Gemma, if that's the same over there. But that's, at least in America, the United States of America, the 988 on your cell phone will get you in contact with the suicide crisis line.
It's 1 minute.
So feel free to take that down. Thank you, Gemma, for sharing.
They're all on the end credits anyway, from every country. Yeah, ours is 116123.
Yes. But yeah, so I've never felt anything similar to that, like that I can honestly say. But I did very much so understand what passive death wish meant, because there was a good chunk of my life there, of my 20s, where I didn't really give a shit if I did die. Maybe that risky behavior stuff was coming into effect a little bit. Maybe the way I viewed it is that I wouldn't actively take my life, but if something else were to come along, I don't know if I was gonna jump out of the way, kind of thing. It's an odd feeling, and it's something to. It's not the odd feeling is when you understand it, like when that light bulb goes off, like wow, huh. But definitely
actually
something.
have check forms if you want me to get it and tell you what's on them, because I've just had to go through it with Thomas, and it's one of the.
If there's time towards the end, yeah. I want to start banging some of these slides out.
Because some of the questions they ask you, it's like, until you're asked and it's put into perspective as what it's for, you think to yourself, why are they asking me this?
Yeah. And we don't actually even have to hit all the slides. I like to put more on than we usually need, because in case we run out of
go on, I've got them all.
But that's not the case with this topic. Like I said, we could talk all day about this. But there was some good stuff. Just real quick, just run through the general signs and symptoms. We should probably recap at the beginning, but
signs and symptoms of depression: persistent feelings of sadness, loss of interest in activities, trouble sleeping or oversleeping, appetite or weight changes, fatigue and decreased energy, difficulty thinking clearly or quickly, irritability, frustration or pessimism, physical aches and pains, and recurrent thoughts of death or suicide. Again, it doesn't have to, not all of them have to apply. Like Tim's just said, he didn't have the suicidal thoughts. But it's usually most of them.
And you look at all of them, and they all seem very familiar for other things as well. I mean, who doesn't have fatigue, decreased energy towards the end of the day? This is like an all-day thing, though. Trouble sleeping, and yet we never want to get out of bed. Or oversleeping, yeah. It's just some quick symptoms to kind of go over that. Real quick, let's look at this one. Understanding depression. I thought this was pretty good.
Yeah, so understanding depression, how our body responds. So triggers: situations where there is a loss or a potential loss of something, like support, love, and the ability to cope. Core beliefs: I'm no good, I'm a failure, others are better, others are better than I am, I'm worthless, I can't be helped. Thoughts like nobody likes me, I've let people down, I failed, I can't change, things won't get any better, there's no point. Brain changes, serotonin levels reduce, thoughts slow down, activity decreases in hippocampus, and I cannot say that one, Tim. You've done it to me again. Yeah,
Amygdala
that.
and
And
prefrontal
prefrontal cortex. You always find a slide. There's a word on that I can't say.
The amygdala is a center
Reaction,
in the brain.
fatigue, aches and pains, lower pain threshold, headaches, slow movement, poor concentration. And then behavior, so crying, withdrawal, restlessness, loss of interest, poor sleep, and appetite changes. There we go.
Yes. I'm trying to get. Penelope has risen from the.
I'm going to put another slide up that I think will help then, like this one.
Well, this goes into a whole different topic,
Like to support it.
but we'll get there.
Okay. You want me to go on then? I thought you were disappearing on me.
No. I was just getting her movie on.
Okay.
She's a big fan of Tangled. That should keep her quiet for another 15 minutes at least.
Okay.
The body reactions and behaviors are not necessarily body reactions. The behaviors, and I definitely felt the core beliefs. These cognitive distortions, or what have you, the I'm a failure, things are gonna always be bad. If you remember from a while ago, we did an episode on cognitive distortions, and there's different types of them. And it's things like fortune telling, and that's one of the big ones that I identified with. Fortune telling, or seeing into the future in a negative way, because something happened once, it's definitely going to be bad again, and it's just not always the case. Pessimism really, I guess, is the way to look at it. Just because you lived through it once, or you something bad happened to me today, so tomorrow's going to be shit too. It's just the way it is. Hello, Annie Walker. Good to see you. I guess I just I always kind of felt that in me as well. That feeling of shit's gonna hit the fan at some point today. Why can't anything go right? Does this really happen to everybody? Does everybody have this kind of luck, from day to day? Because sometimes it really did feel like I was just getting kicked through the mud, and then go to sleep, wake up, and get kicked through the mud some more. But it's definitely no way to live healthily. And lastly, that word amygdala, I didn't even see it when I got this slide ready, but I'm glad it was there. That brings joy to me.
What, the fact I can't say certain words?
Yeah. And even simple words like garage.
Just saying.
But back when we were on the former platform of HAPS, Gemma and I did a broadcast called Who Said It Better? And it was just me and her at the time, but we're trying to put something together where we bring that back and do it again with some more words. We had a list of words from doing this show that we would hear each other say differently, and we'd write them down, and then we did a whole broadcast on them. Aluminum. Actually, Mom, I think, set us all straight on that one and said it's aluminium, damn it, because we had that. You guys took a letter away. What would?
Yeah.
I mean, did we take one of the eyes away? I guess.
Yeah, the end eye has been depressed. No, being removed. I can't speak either, it would appear.
Michael Joseph Murray, if I haven't said hello yet, hello. Having depression and being in toxic marriage makes it even worse. And that is another good segue to get to that slide Gemma pulled up earlier, and we'll talk about that because I want to kind of start heading that way. We've done previous episodes on depression. We can tell stories and talk about it till the sun comes up. But let's look at a different aspect of it. Let's look at your spouse, what they're dealing with, what my wife must go through, and how she can understand or even be there for me. She does, and she's good at it. But it's just something worth taking a look at. So how do we support someone with depression? Just trigger phrases.
Yeah, I'll get that up. Which is there. Okay, so how to support someone with depression. So there's the instead of say something like, so instead of saying let's not make it the story and panic. You could say, I am here for you, you're not alone. And then try to focus on the positive. And you could say, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I find some of these are like passive, like comments, and sometimes nearly always not helpful. Like the one that this one's one of my family members' favorites. Everyone goes through tough times. And instead of that, please tell me what I can do to help. Or you have no reason to be sad or die. I do care about you and want to help. Some people have more on their plate. And how can I best support you right now? Just smile. Like, I swear the number of times people said that to me, I'm like, you're going to get smacked in the face. Seriously. Oh, this is all in your head. That's another one. That's a real favorite of somebody in my family. What you experience is important. Thanks for sharing this with me. I think the more you use the left side ones and dismiss what they're going through, because it is a way of dismissing the person's feelings, what they're going through, the more you do that, the less likely they are to be able to confide in you and open up in you. If you just let them know that you're there. I'm not saying that they're going to open up straight away, because it's not always easy.
So that's the big common denominator here, from one side to the other, is dismissive versus not dismissive, for lack of a better term. You're not necessarily accepting, but in a way you are. You're validating. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, validating their feelings
versus validation.
Yeah.
That's the big word.
Nobody,
and not just you're over analyzing it. Exactly.
Yeah. Or don't overthink it,
That's just dismissive. And that's a lot of times not just with depression. You can apply this to just an argument with your spouse. You got to listen. You got to support. Listen, learn, and support. You think you're saying the right thing. It's not getting on anybody here, but you think you're actually doing some good. You think you're saying the right thing when you say, let's try not to panic, or or some people have more on their plates. You try and put it into perspective for them. You're just trying to help, but really it's dismissing their feelings. It's not validating them, which is what they're, I guess, in need of at the time. Somebody that knows that they're feeling shitty and we're going to get better. Moving along, we'll go to loving someone with depression.
Okay, so 7 tips for loving someone with depression. So, number 1, learn all you can. Understand that depression is a real and serious condition. Number 2, encourage treatment. So, get help early. You can find it in Psychology Today, Therapy Directory. So, I'm assuming that's a specific like website or something, but you can look up. There's plenty of reputable websites like Mind in the UK, Samaritans, things like that. Stay on the same team, so don't cast blame, don't be pointing the finger and things like that. That's just counterproductive. Steer clear of fix-it mode. Instead, listen and be accepting of other people's feelings. Focus on accomplishments, so no matter how small they may seem. Recognize your own needs and practice self-care. There's no point trying to help someone if you're burning yourself out completely, because then you can't be at your best and give your best. And then have compassion for them and for yourself.
Yeah. So a lot of seemingly obvious things. Have compassion. If it were so obvious, we probably wouldn't have to write it down, though.
Yeah.
You guys are, you are on the same team. Never once do I feel like my wife feels superior to me because she's not in the place of a depression diagnosis. Like, we're on the same level, and she knows when I'm getting down, and she knows how to kind of turn that around. What I find dismissive isn't necessarily what was back on this last slide. I find other things to be dismissive just the same. I can't, of course, think of an example right now, but as soon as we hit the credits and end the show, I'll have 5 for you. But
things like it's not that bad, or you'll get over it, or just
yeah, those are the ones that are like on the.
Yeah,
those are the ones that are on that slide. There's like actions and stuff that rub me the wrong way, and then I find ultimately at the end of it, I just find it to be dismissive.
Yeah, there's so many. Really.
Drive safely, Jim. We'll be joining Jim later tonight for some Catalyst. But yeah, recognize your own needs and practice the self-care. That's obviously huge in most everything we talk about. Self-care above all, because you can't take care of anybody else if you can't take care of yourself first. All right. I'm going to go ahead and play this video real quick. It's only 5 minutes. We'll come back and chat a little bit and do some community calendar before we get out of here for the night. But I wanted to play this because it goes along with that last slide we did, and I thought it was pretty good. Something a little different, not necessarily all about self this time. This is looking at loving someone with said mental health disorder or struggle.
We hope you know that we're here for you during these crazy times of COVID-19. We want you to stay safe and healthy, and we'll fight this together. Is there anyone in your life who you think may be struggling with depression, or perhaps that person is you? If so, you've likely seen how it complicates daily life and how it not only affects the depressed, but also everyone around them. It's emotionally painful to see someone you love in so much pain, but you're not sure how to help them. Relationships aren't easy, so loving someone with a mental health diagnosis can be even more of a challenge. They tend to talk themselves down and wallow in their feelings of self-hatred and hopelessness, convinced that they're undeserving of love. Depression builds walls around people, putting a lot of emotional distance between you and your loved one. Yet, you continue to reach out and support them. You do it because you're connected to them and you love them. After all, one of the most beautiful and powerful things in life is true human connection. Nurturing it can help you find happiness even in the darkest of times, and it will help you restore what depression has taken away. So, let's go through 7 reasons to love someone with depression. 1. They're stronger than most. When was the last time you were in any sort of heated conflict, physical or verbal? Now imagine that energy expenditure, but inside your head, and it never ends. Fighting depression is a constant battle with your own mind, with weapons of loneliness, emptiness, and hopelessness being used against the sufferer. You can imagine that whoever has fought against depression is likely one of the strongest, most resilient individuals you know. Sometimes they don't win, and the amount of courage and determination required to get back up is tremendous. 2. Their depression does not define them. Of utmost importance, you are loving a person, not a diagnosis. Although this person has a mental illness, this does not define who they are and does not indicate a foregone conclusion. Some of the greatest individuals in history, such as Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, and Georgia O'Keeffe, struggled with depression for much of their lives. Despite this, they rose above it all and made their lives mean something more. 3. They're more understanding. People who have depression become more understanding and empathetic to the suffering of others. They know how it feels like to be shunned and ignored by others due to the stigma behind mental illness. Because of this, they tend to be more open-minded and non-judgmental. It's easy to let yourself be emotionally vulnerable with them because they can easily empathize with whatever it is you may be feeling, and they'll likely understand your point of view better than others. 4. They're more honest. Depression has the tendency to make those who suffer from it more brutally honest. Just as they understand what it's like to be shunned, they also understand what it's like to have their time wasted and feelings hurt by fake niceties and false promises. You can always trust them to tell you the truth, no matter how ugly or painful it may be. They don't usually have any ulterior motives behind their words or their actions because they put a lot of value in a person's sincerity and straightforwardness. 5. They're quite appreciative. We know, you might think, that wall doesn't seem like they care about anything I do for them. Yeah, there is a wall. However, those with depression don't really want to be left all alone. They value and are grateful for those who stay by their side, making that effort to connect and reach out. But they don't want to burden you by seeming like they needed too much. They're very appreciative. They're just trying not to be creepy about it. 6. They're good listeners. Someone who's depressed tends to feel lonely and misunderstood, so they go out of their way to ensure that their loved ones don't feel that way. They want you to know that you are heard and accepted. They know how amazing it can feel to have someone get you, so they're eager to return any empathy and support others have shown them in any way they can, usually by listening. And 7, they're deep thinkers. Many recent studies have observed a link between overthinking and depression. There are quite a few upsides to being a deep thinker, such as being perceptive, intuitive, and insightful about life. I'm sure you've heard the contemplation, what is the meaning of life? That mindset is very much what the depressed person contemplates, as finding meaning gives them hope and purpose. To give a simple analogy, a flower blooms the most beautiful and vibrant when given proper support and care. People are the same way. Those with mental illnesses are still people. Although it can feel like an uphill battle much of the time, encouragement, understanding, and simply being there to help them through the suffering goes a long way to helping that flower bloom. Did any of these points speak to you? How are you thinking you might change your approach to others or yourself? If you're suffering from depression, did you find these points accurate? Please comment, like, and share this video with someone who would benefit from it. We'll see you in the next video.
Can't help it. Yeah, that was a good video. Just something a little different to look at it from somebody else's eyes. Or I know not just Hattie has spoken in chat before, but others as well have talked about their significant others and struggles that they have, or maybe strains on their relationship due to some sort of mental health turmoil or struggle. So there is some excellent resources out there for you as well. As the as the person that sometimes is what they call on the outside looking in, but just as important as well. Like, it's not like a spotlight is just put on the person with, say, depression. There, it goes back to that we're a team thing. We're on the same team. So if I get a little spotlight on me for having depression, then my wife gets a lot of spotlight on her as well for dealing with my ass, and knowing how to and caring enough to, and not just saying the hell with this, I'm out of here. So there's that's nature.
The caring enough to do it and things, because nobody has to put that on, but if they care enough to do so, then
Yeah. So keep your eyes peeled on the Discord. If you're not already in the Discord, !Discord, please click the link and join. And if you're listening on the replay over on Spotify or any of the other major podcasting networks, we're on all of them, all the replays, all the audio. And you can't see, obviously, you can't see live comments, or you're watching on YouTube. They don't have the live comments from the show either. All of it is in the bio link. That is literally almost at the top. Our bio link website link is at the top of every social / broadcasting point. Well, it's at the top, right next to our name, basically, and it'll take you to wherever you need to go to find us. As Hattie drops it in the chat for us there too. I put the bio link and
do the website.
Yeah, I did the website, the bio link and the actual website, TMHHonline.com. I put those in the episode descriptions of each YouTube video and every podcast replay. So it's just it's a part of the description. So I know it's on every episode. You can't miss it. You can join the Discord. It will be in there waiting for you. It's a great community. And we're going to post all these slides that we went over tonight, and we're going to post some Psych to Go stuff as well. And seeing how much you guys like the Psych to Go, they are a great resource. I also very much enjoy verywellmind.com. They're just as good in my opinion. But now that I know that you guys like that Psych to Go content, we can use some more of it off stream, just in the Discord community. Nail Driver, what is good? We're getting ready to wrap it up. But in closing, I'll say depression is a very real thing that a lot of folks across the globe struggle with. There is help out there, whether it be medicine, whether it be psychiatry or counseling, psychology, or just self-care. Some people have it in them to rise from the depths on their own. Taking a walk, doing some exercise like we love, self-care. So as always, if you or someone you know is experiencing any of those symptoms or struggles, the helplines are available as always. Patty's posted them in the chat. They are also a part of our BioLink and website, and they're in the Discord as well. So come join. And I'll leave it with that. Gemma, did you have anything in closing?
Not really. There is some of the new numbers I've added on the outro video now that I've just made, so it'll be a new outro video. And I've checked the phone numbers are current and correct, so they are on the end of this broadcast if you're watching it in video form. I will put them on the website as well. And I've got to do a little bit of updating on there, so check it out anyway. Yeah, check the website out. It'll be getting updated in the next few weeks. I've got quite a bit of content on there, so yeah.
Well, that's Living with Depression number 3. Plenty more depression episodes to come. It's a giant topic. There's no way we can cover it all in an hour. And we haven't even covered it all in 3 hours. As this is our third one of it. But it's a nice topic to go over and look at, because it's something that we can all kind of
it's relatable for everyone, I think.
It's relatable. Yeah. All right, guys, let's do a community calendar for this evening. You know, you have Catalyst, our longtime friend and subscriber, Jim in Chicagoland, will be hosting his popular Wednesday night attraction, 10 p.m. Eastern. I got to update that command because I think it's 10 p.m. now. 10 p.m. Eastern on Twitch at Jim in Chicagoland for Catalyst tonight. Come join the good times. And don't forget to give Gemma a follow as well. She has her own Twitch handle and broadcasts some great cooking, baking, crafts, arts, and like. We also want to give shout outs to Ray of Sunshine and Eric J Gaming, both of them in the chat tonight. Ray actually just came off stream and rated us from his Ray of Sunshine. I popped in while I was setting this up. Great broadcast, good times, good vibes. And then for all things bunny, check out our friend Ella the Bunny Mom. She's here on Twitch at Ella the Bunny Mom. She streams late night ukulele, guitar, piano, songs for the Insomniacs, and she owns her shop, mybunnyvalentine.com. You can get some great merchandise for all of the proceeds go to help rescue bunnies everywhere. And then we'll be back again next week. I forgot to prepare and look and see what the hell the next topic is. But we'll be back nonetheless. And if you want to know what it is, I'm sure Gemma's going to tell you, but you can join the Discord and see it in there. I don't know if we've posted that out on the other socials yet or not.
It is Self-Worth next week.
What is it?
Self-Worth next week.
Self-Worth?
Then on the
from depression to self-worth.
Yeah. Then on the 15th, suicidal ideation. 22nd, co-occurring disorders. On the 29th is women's stigmas and mental health, and it is women's history mental health, I think it was, for this month as well.
Nicely.
Women's Mental Health Month or something. So that'll finish the month nicely.
And the other thing is we got another live Q&A on the books. So we got to start promoting that and start getting some questions in.
Yeah, that's always, the 5th of April.
That's always a fan favorite. What we do is we have you guys submit an anonymous form through Google Docs. There's no way for us to know who sent it in. It's just completely anonymous. And if you don't believe us, you're going to have to take our word for it, because I don't know how to prove that. But we've done 5 of those shows now. Or no, this will be the 5th. We've done 4 of them. And yeah, I don't know who sent anything unless they send a like pin number at the end of their description or their question that we can say, okay. But
I'd never read it out though. I wouldn't say who
yeah,
it was.
there's some rules to the game. Obviously, you gotta keep it mental health related. We don't we won't be answering any questions about who we think is going to win the Super Bowl next year or anything like that. And then, keep it respectful. Keep people's names out of it. And, don't use any derogatory language or we're going to have to can those. We have had to turn some down, unfortunately. But that is all for tonight. We'll see everybody back here next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Gemma time. We're going to get out of here. See you guys on the next one.